Hi, in today's webinar, I will demonstrate how to model a holding company in Voyant. We're going to be taking a look at the Canadian version of the software. We'll explore how to reflect revenue moving into the company, dividends and salaries being paid out, and how to make the company the owner of an asset and an expense. So I'm also going to dip into a few of the advanced features that you may or may not have activated on your account as of right now. And if you don't, you can let me know after the end of the webinar and I'd be happy to activate them. This webinar is going to be recorded. You will receive a recording after the webinar is completed, usually within 24 hours. We are not going to open this webinar up for questions, but you're welcome to email me at support@planwithvoyant.com if you have any questions afterwards. And we're going to start this webinar on the dashboard and navigate over to the plus button. And we're going to start by entering in a holding company. So we're going to open up the corporate tab and select holding company. And I'm going to have the owners of this holding company be our couple, Charles and Charlotte, and they are going to be the joint owners of a family business. Now, the accounts that you see listed here are going to be nominal accounts. And if you have any questions about what these different account balances are, you can simply click on the highlighted hyperlinks here, and this will open up some information about what these different account types are. But these are not required in order to be able to model the holding company, so you can leave them blank. Now, you can also toggle these on or off depending on your client's taxation requirements and what they're eligible for, but these are going to be small business deductions and capital gains exemptions that they may or may not qualify for. Over here on the left-hand side, you're going to want to enter in their common or preferred share ownership. I'm going to model a common share 50-50 ownership for this example, and I'm just going to click Done to save. Once we have that saved, you'll notice that automatically we have now a corporate section that's entered for the holding company. And then we also have a non-registered account that's automatically created for the business. This is going to be the non-registered account that holds all revenue that flows into the business, and also is going to be what all salaries and dividend distributions flow out of. So everything flows into this account and everything flows out of this account, and it's going to be automatically created. So the next thing I want to do is model some revenue flowing into this business. So to do that, I'm going to go to my plus button here again. I'm going to go to income, and we're going to select other income. Now I want the owner of this account or this income to be the family business. And you'll notice now that we have the business entered into the software, the business can now be the owner of things. So the business now acts sort of like a person in the cash flow. So we're going to have the business be the owner of this income. And I'm going to model it as $500,000 a year. You'll want to make sure to select the correct taxation type. And then under timing, I want this revenue to be in the plan for the entirety. You may want to make some adjustments depending on how you want to model the business revenue. You may want it to end at a certain point, but for the purposes of my example, I want this to start now and I want the revenue to end at the end of the plan. So I'm going to click Done to save. And you'll notice that once we've saved that, we don't see any revenue on our cash flow. And that's because the cash flow chart only models our client's personal cash flow. So if you want to see the business cash flow, you'll want to move over to either the assets chart, where you can see the corporate assets growing in that non-registered account, or you'll want to move over to the net worth chart where you can see the corporate net worth right here under corporate assets. The next thing I want to do is start pushing some income and dividends into my client's personal cash flow. So again, I'm going to go to my plus button here in the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to go to corporate, and I want to schedule some distributions out of the company. I'm going to do a salary distribution, so you can see what that looks like. I want the distribution source to be the business, and I'm going to do first an income to Charles. Let's say 100,000. I want the timing of that to be between now and when Charles retires. And I'm going to save and add another. Give this a name of salary distribution. And I want the distribution source to be the business. This is an income. I want it to go to Charlotte. 100,000 just to keep everything nice and even. And then the growth rate here is just going to be how much this income grows every year. And then on the timing, I want this to end when Charlotte retires at 65. Then I'm going to save and add another. And I'm going to schedule some dividend distributions for when they retire. So we're going to do some dividend distributions of the same amount. And dividends are going to distribute 50-50 depending on the common share ownership that you set up when you set up the business. So since they own the business 50% to 50%, this is going to be split equally between the two of them. So I want to start these dividend distributions when Charlotte retires, and I want them to end at plan end. So we're going to click done to save. And what we should see now is some cash flow moving into their plan. And you can see that we have that employment income in the early years, and then we have those dividend distributions coming into the plan later on. And if you want to see that in year view to get a clearer look, we can turn on the year view chart. That gives us a look underneath the hood. You can use this little square slider bar to see what's happening in any year of the plan. You can see income distributions. You can see the taxes that are going to be applied to the business and to Charles and Charlotte. If you look at the investments tab, you can see contributions going in. That would be any revenue, and then the withdrawals coming out. And then if you look at the dividend years, look at cash flow, you can see the dividend distribution being split evenly between the two of them. You can also, if you look over here at this investments tab, you can click on this and see a more detailed breakdown of exactly what's happening in the account for that year. You can also look at the corporate section here, open this up and get a detailed breakdown as far as, what are the common share, preferred share values, what are the different nominal account values, detailed breakdown of the taxes. All of that can be found in here. Another thing that a company can do in Voyant is own property. So if we go here to the plus button again, we can go to the property tab, and instead of a person owning a property, a business can own a property. So let's just give this a name, business property. And rather than it being a principal residence, it can be a business property. Give that a market value, let's say 2 million, and you'll want to give it a purchase value that would affect any capital gains if you ever sold it. So let's just say 1.5. And if you have any linked debts like a mortgage on this property, you would want to add that there, and that would apply an expense. So let's say we do have a debt on this property, mortgage on the business. You could apply that here. So 1.4 million at 5%, and you've still got 25 years left on that note, and it'll automatically apply that expense to the business, and it'll take it out of that revenue each year. Now, another thing to keep in mind, you can link additional expenses to this, and you can also link income. So if this is, rather than something that is an expense to the business, if this is something that's bringing in income, like for example, if the business owns a bunch of rental properties, you could also link income to these properties, and then that would bring in income to the business instead. So clicking done to save that. And if the business leases a property, for their business. You can also do that under expenses multi-year instead of linking a mortgage to it. A couple of things I wanted to review more broadly before we go is if we go back to the corporate section here and open up family business, there's a couple of advanced features here that you may or may not need to use at any point. The first is going to be ownership transfers. So this is going to be if you ever need to transfer the ownership of the business. So we're going to go to add transfer. You can add a transfer of the business to someone else in the plan or a person outside of the plan as a gift or as a sale. So let's say, for example, they want to schedule the sale of the business, family business sale. Set that as our start event, and we're going to do it to a person outside of the plan. Let's just model that really quickly. You'll see a large inflow of funds into the plan in that year. If you turn on the details, you can see a large inflow of cash coming into the plan that year in the form of cash. So we've got 2.56 million in cash coming into the plan from the sale of the business in that year. So if you ever need to sell the business, that would be how you do it. And if you don't have that option turned on and you would like it turned on, just shoot me an email at support@playingwithvoyant.com and I can turn that on for you. You can also do it as a gift. So if they wanted to turn the business over to their son, Jason, or put it into trust, you could do it that way as well. If you wanted to model an estate freeze, you could do so via this share buyback and issue new common shares option here. And we also have under insights, we have this of course, it's disappeared in my example here. Oh, sorry, it's under what if. So we also have this company estate freeze what if that you can create. So if you wanted to create an estate freeze what if to model that as something you wanted to show your clients as an option for them, we have that here as an option as well. So just to review, we have from the plus button here in the bottom right hand corner, you would go here, enter your holding company. Any distributions that you want to push out of the holding company would be modeled as a distribution from here. Any revenues that are going into the company would be modeled as other income, so that would be money going in. And any properties would be modeled as owned by the family, by the business. And if you have any specific holding companies that you would like help modeling, I would be happy to sit down with you one-on-one and go through any specific scenarios that you have questions about. In order to book an appointment with me, you could send me a direct email at support@playingwithvoyant.com, or you can just send me the client plan that you're taking a look at, ask me questions by selecting the name of your client in the top right, request support, enter your question into the text box, and share client access, and I can take a look at the plan. Thanks for taking some time with me today, and I would be happy to take a look at a more specific example if you would like, and have a good rest of your day. Thanks.